Lalit Agarwal joins us, Chairman and Managing Director with V-Mart. Mr. Agarwal, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Now, walk us through what has been your experience about the rural recovery, which everyone is excited about, because the format which you represent and the positioning of your malls are largely rural stroke semi-urban. Are you getting a sense that the consumer is back way ahead of Diwali and Dussehra already?
Good morning. Yeah, I mean, I think the expectation is there, but still not able to see a lot of consumerism in the towns which are affected by rural population also. We generally operate in smaller towns which are primarily district urban as well as rural crowd which comes to shop. So yeah, we should see some aspiration coming in, but this year typically UP and Bihar had seen a little lesser rainfall in the early part of the season. So we have seen little lesser rainfall in UP and Bihar, and then I think we don't have now marriages and we don't have any festivals, and this time in the Q2 also the festival is shifting to Q3. So not able to see lot of demand as of now. I mean, I can't excite you with the news saying that the consumer is out there before Diwali. No. So but yeah, things are okay. Things are better than the last year.
Right. Give us your sense, Lalit, do you believe that the private label contribution, which was at about 52%, will continue to lead the growth for you?
No, I think that's a part of our strategy, and private label is something that will bring in more loyalty and more customer recall once the customer has used the product, because the products are much better, the products have standardized sizes, the product have standardized quality and good fashion. So I think private label is more of a strategic in nature to try and give customer a unique selling proposition and trying to say that this is the only product which is only available at V-Mart. And I think a lot of work is being done at the back end on those private label. It is not just trying to drive volume, the private label strategy obviously, but to sustain the volume. The point here is that sustain and regular growth of the volume, and by giving the same philosophy of value to the customers, because what we want to do is create value to our customer segment, and that's the overall approach of the private label.
Right. So just wanted to understand your same-store sales growth a little better. At 4 to 5% levels currently, do you think the operating leverage will play out, in turn aiding the margin expansion in future? And can you better this SSG performance in the coming quarters?
No, I think you are absolutely right that the leveraging will only come once the same-store sales growth goes above 4%. And that I think, yes, we are quite positive and bullish. Maybe not in this quarter, but at least in the whole year, we are bullish on the same-store sales growth, that we should see at least 7% same-store sales growth coming in this particular year. This quarter may be a little dull because of the festival shift, as I told you. But otherwise, I think on a month-on-month basis till now, we are seeing a good traction.
Having said that, how are you looking at gaining more market share? You know, is that a conscious strategy to invest more to capture a bigger market for yourself?
Yeah, I think that's what we have taken up, because in the states where we operate, we want to be the leader in that state, in the value segment where we are catering to the customer for their fashion need in the value segment. So I think that's where our position is, and like in the state of Uttar Pradesh or in state of Bihar or Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, we are typical leader in those kind of state, and we want to have the biggest market share out of the total organized retail which works in these areas. So that's the core intention. That's why we are only developing ourselves in a cluster based philosophy, and we believe there is a huge density of population in these clusters where we are operating right now. So to try and be a market leader there will obviously give us a very good affiliation with our customer base and develop itself as a brand in that particular territory. So yes, the market share is a key driver for our operations in those states at least.
How exactly is your profit per square foot moving, and where do you think it will move in next 2 years?
No, I think we target something around 120 rupees per square feet from the front end operations, that's our overall target. So we were around 125 last year, and we feel this could scale up with the increase in the same store sales growth. And as the same store sales growth goes beyond 3 or 4%, the profitability per square feet will also increase, because there is only a fixed cost which is to a certain percentage of the total cost. So this remains constant, and whatever growth or there is a slight increment in those costs year on year, but balance, if we grow beyond 3% or 4%, I think we will add on to the profitability per square feet even. And that's what we are focusing on, trying to work on product which have higher margins and better margins, like fashion. So we have stopped doing FMCG for the last 5 years, and we have not been focusing on low margin product like FMCG. So that's our overall approach, trying to drive more sales per square feet, trying to drive more margins from the product that we sell, and keep the cost almost constant or lower, or even lesser in terms of percentage of sales. That's the overall approach of the company.
How much of your total revenue is coming from private labels, and where do you think that is going to move?
So I mean, you know that the private label contribution is around 52%. So the profitability margins are almost similar as right now in private label versus the market label. We don't want to charge the customer a little higher. We want to first of all give them the enough value and give them enough quality, so that they get tuned to this particular label. And once we start delivering them better product, and we are confident that there is some amount of uniqueness in these products which are different from the market labels, then only we'll start asking for a better prices from the customer. But till that time, the margins are almost similar from private label.
We believe you've stepped up on ad spends. Is that a conscious call? How much of that would eat into your margins?
Can you repeat the question, please?
We believe you stepped up on ad spends. You're spending more on marketing and advertising campaigns. Is that real? Is that a conscious strategy?
Yeah. Yeah, I think because there are a lot of competitors now in the market, and almost similar looking stores are getting opened up by the regional players and the national players also. So we are trying to create a differentiation by bringing in these Bollywood brand ambassadors and doing some amount of branding, because the customer is already there, but we want to raise their aspiration by bringing in these role models whom they chase and whom they follow. So the perspective here is trying to create a little bit of branding in the customer's mindset, so that they take our brand a little separately and a little differently, which then gives them a understanding on the fashion availability at our locations, and a differentiation in their mindset, which will then bring them, once they think of any kind of fashion, they should come down to our store, and they start developing a relationship with the store and relationship with the brand. So that's the overall purpose. I think that's what we are up to. We have never done aggressive marketing before, but this year we are trying to do a little bit. Still we don't want to spend too much on the marketing. We'll keep it under our levels of 2.5%.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Agarwal, great speaking with you. Thanks so much for taking the time out and chatting with us today. Good to chat with you as always.